we can, people who couldn't attend it can go through and see it afterwards. So I got a bunch of material to go through tonight, so I'm going to try to go through it pretty quickly. Stop me if you have questions. I'd rather answer the questions as we go along. I will stop at a few points and ask if anyone has questions, so poke me at. Mo, you good there? All right. I'm gonna mute him. All right, so here we go. Why don't we get going? So the first thing we want to go through, just a quick update on some of the upcoming events. For on the baseball side, for minors, majors, 60s and 70s, we have our mandatory regional meetings. Those are next Tuesday and Wednesday. For those coaches that are on those teams, you need to go to those meetings. Those are the ones where you'll get the details about the regional programs, and what the rules are for those divisions and everything that goes along with that. NCMS is also having theirs next week, which is for the softball. We have 2 teams for softball this year, rookie and minors. So rookie does not need to go to that, but minors does need to go to that meeting. Those are the regional meetings that are coming up. We do not have any dates for the seniors regional meetings at this time, but I expect those to come in the next couple of days. Field cleanup tomorrow at Craven Field, 12 o'clock. Anybody that can attend, we'd appreciate it. I hope it's not just me out there with a rake. So if a few other people show up, that would be fantastic. These are all the things I'm trying to get done for tomorrow. So would appreciate any of the help that you can. If you can make it, great. If you can't, fully understand. It is optional. For Spalding Field and Allen Field, those are being handled by an external contractor. So we don't have to go to those fields to get those prepped and ready. All right. Some of the general upcoming league events. This year, I am going to try to get the movie night going at Craven Field. I don't know a date yet for that or the movie, but we're going to try to do that again this year. We are going to do Cub Scout night. I don't know the date for that, but that will be coming. The Hit-a-thon and Pitcher Day is May 15th. That's confirmed. And then all of our other usual events, the parade, the concert, the kickoff parties, the ballparks, they're probably all unlikely this year just because of the COVID restrictions. It could change, but as of today, I don't see those events happening. But I will keep you up to date as I get more information. All right.
Hey, Keith, one quick question. Are you doing the card detailing thing again?
No, we're not doing that this year.
Okay.
Yep. So I can check on that though, see if he has any interest. I know he didn't want to do it last year. There wasn't enough people that did it. So
okay.
First couple of years. All right. League contact. So everybody will get a copy of this deck. So there's a lot of detail in this presentation. I will send it all out as a PDF for everybody. So I included a lot of detail, more than I will talk about. But here are all the contacts for the different things you might have questions on: baseball, softball, so anything. These are how you get in touch with the people that can help you out with those different programs or environments. So I want to talk real briefly about the coaching philosophy we have here at Tabes. So a couple of different things. We believe that practices are critical. So we want every team, rookie and up, to have at least 2 practices a week starting now. So if you haven't scheduled your practices, please get them scheduled. Practices are the one thing that's going to be critical for helping the growth of these players. So the more you can get on the field with them, the better. As they get older, I've always had to do 2, 3, 4 practices a week, depending on the week, the game count, everything like that. So definitely try to get as many practices in as you can. We hope that you put in games into your practices, relay races, home run derby, engaged. So definitely try to do stuff like that. We do not believe in yelling at the kids at all for performance. We don't ever want to hear about a coach that's yelling at them because of their performance on the field. That's just not acceptable. We don't want to see any players getting punished for their performance. So don't call out a kid because they missed the ball and make them run lap for it, or stuff like that. Doing team are okay to have the losing team do a reasonable number of something, push-ups, run a lap. This team that wins this, you don't have to do the 10 push-ups. Keep it simple, keep it reasonable. It shouldn't be as much a punishment as a reward for the one that tried a little harder. Okay. It is okay to get loud, not necessarily screaming loud, but it is okay to get loud for behavior issues. If you don't, the kids will run all over you. So definitely do that. It's okay to get loud. It's okay to have them run laps if they're being disrespectful, bullying. It is okay to reasonably bench a player if they're doing something dangerous or disrespectful. So do not feel that you shouldn't be doing those things. So definitely keep those in mind. A good saying that one of our coaches has used for years is the saying is 1% better. Every practice, you want to tell the kids, you want to strive for 1% better. If they can do that at every practice, that's a goal. It seems so small, but if you add 1% on top of 1% on top of 1%, the kids really, really do well with that. So a couple other things here. This one is important to take note of. Do your teaching during practices. Don't do teaching during games. The game should be going on. You should give some general things, but you shouldn't be telling them how to get in position and how to do that stuff during the game. Let them go out, play the game, let them have fun. Tell your parents that as well. Don't let them start yelling from the grandstands. Catch this, back up. Tell them to back off. Don't do it. We don't want to see that from the parents because we want the kids to just enjoy themselves and have fun out there. Good thing to note is for all of us that are parents that have kids on our teams, once you get on the field, that player is now a Tabes player. Don't treat them any different than you would treat the other kids on your team. Don't give them special treatment. Don't be harder on them. Don't yell at them. However you discipline them at home is not how you discipline them on the field. Just like you do it with all the other kids, do it with your own kids. Okay? Our coaches are the model for our parents and our players. So be that person. Teach the kids by showing them how you behave with the players, the coaches, the umpires, everybody. So be the model for them. As far as participation trophies go, we do give them out for T-ball and rookie level, which we consider non-competitive. But once you get beyond rookie, we do not hand out trophies unless you actually win the playoff or tournament rounds. And our number one goal is to have the kids having fun in this program. So really, this is a town program. It is a recreational level program. No one's getting signed to the MLB today. No one's going off and playing senior level varsity tomorrow. Just focus on the fun. We want the kids coming back and enjoying what they're doing. So some recommended playing time. So really, as they get older, as they're younger, everything should be equal. Kid A should be equal kid B. Nobody should get more than one other. As they start to get older, you can start shifting into some of the better kids, and more locking them into position. But that really doesn't happen until a little bit in minors, more in majors, full on in seniors. So just keep that in mind as you start going and working with your kids. Background checks. So as I'm sure many of you are aware, and from the insane amount of texting and emails that I've been sending out to everybody to get your backgrounds and your certifications done, this is critical. We cannot have any adults that's 18 years of age or older step on the field unless they've at least done the Massachusetts Corey check. So if you need help on a field and you want to get a parent there to help you, they need to do the background check before that. So I encourage you to hit all of your parents up now and say, hey, can you at least just get your background done? You don't have to necessarily come on the field. You don't necessarily have to coach and help. But in case I need help, I need to have more people cleared. So talk to your parents and see if you can get that done. That's not a Tabes thing. It's not something we decided on. That is federal law, it's Massachusetts law, and it's a requirement from Babe Ruth. So we really want to make sure we follow all of those rules. Uniforms. So we'll be handing out uniforms probably in about I'm hoping, probably in another week, about a week and a half. Once I get them, we'll set up a date for everybody to come pick them up. When you get all of your uniforms, check that you make sure that you got all the right sizes for your team. I'll give you a list with all of your players and what size they ordered. Make sure you give the kids the size that they ordered. Parents ordered specific sizes for their kids. Once you give them all of their uniforms, if they want to start horse trading them around, I want this number, that number, I want this size versus that size, this fits better than that one. It's okay to change them around as long as the parents are okay with the kid changing a size of a shirt. If the parent orders a shirt that's the wrong size, there's nothing we can really do about it. We can order them a new one. We're going to charge them a fee of $25 to order a new one, and we might or might not be able to get it in by the end of the season. So our vendor is really good about trying to get stuff to us, but sometimes it's just not possible if he has to order material or get stuff like that. So we really stress when you register that you get the right size, pick the right size. The calendar raffle. When you pick up your uniforms, I'll hand you out your calendar raffle tickets. Every one of your kids will get a packet of 10 tickets, and they will go off. They will sell them. When they sell them, the parents keep the money. We already collected it when they registered, so we don't want the money back. They keep them. We will do all of the raffles on July 1st. So all of it will happen on one day, and we'll do it live on Facebook. So just make sure you get those tickets. As soon as you get them, hand them out to your parents, kids or parents, but it's really important you don't miss anybody. If someone's not there when you hand them out, make sure you get them out. We've had a bunch of times in the past couple of years where parents came at the end of the season and said, hey, I never got them, so I never had a chance. So we ended up having to refund them the $50 for the calendar raffle, just because it was sat in a coach's bag instead. So please make sure you get those all out.
I just say new coaches, encourage your parents to at least fill them out because they have a great opportunity to make their registration money back. If they don't sell them, put someone's name on them because this is a great opportunity. A lot of parents have taken that opportunity and love getting some money back at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like, if you don't, like, a lot of parents don't want to deal with the selling, and that's perfectly fine. Just write your own name on every one of them, and you bought them already, so they're already covered. Put them in, and you have a chance to win like $2,000. So definitely, just make sure you turn something in. So the next thing is so team ice cream. So this year we're doing so we didn't end up doing anything last year with all the COVID stuff, but this year we're going to do things a little bit different. So what we've decided to do is I worked with the ice cream factory here in Townsend, and every team is going to get a card that basically gives them up to $50 that they can take their team out to the ice cream factory, bring the team together in uniform, and every kid and coach on the team will be able to get an ice cream, so that you can do it all together as a team, and the coaches won't have to pay anything to cover that. So when all of those pieces of paper, those coupons get handed in, ice cream factory will keep track of it, and then I'll go from the league and we'll make one payment to cover all of them. So this is optional. You don't have to take your team out to do that, but it is something that the kids will love, and if you have the opportunity and the desire, we recommend it. So definitely
One more note.
What's that?
Coaches, take photos of your kids out there for us and share it with us so we can brag about how proud of the kids we are. Team bonding, socializing, having great fun. And this is what Tabes does.
Jess loves to post pictures on Facebook and stuff. So send them in, let her post stuff, and it's always good for people to see the stuff that's going on in the league. All right, playoff schedules. For the MAC League, they're going to be, the regular season is going to start April 17th for the 70s. It's going to start the 24th for minors and major 60s. The season will end the 12th. Playoffs are going to be the week of June 14th through the 19th. NCMS, the dates, I haven't received them yet, but I'm expecting them anytime. Things to be very careful on is talk to your families about vacations and any end of school year events. If they have these things, let me know as soon as possible. Because when I'm scheduling the playoff games and I work with the other towns, I might be able to accommodate that, but I won't know until probably early June. So definitely keep me posted on what you have for players that are going to be missing around that time. All-Stars in the Cal Ripken tournament. So last year we weren't able to do either the All-Star MAC League All-Stars, the NCMS All-Stars, or the Cal Ripken tournament. So the MAC League is bringing back the All-Star games this year. The criteria has not yet been finalized, but typically every coach will send 1 to 3 players depending on their final seeding. And this is for minors, major 60s and major 70s teams. The head coach will pick the kids that are going to represent his team on the All-Star game. The game will likely happen just before the playoffs. So usually that's Sunday beforehand, but it's not been finalized yet. Also back this year, so Babe Ruth is going to be holding their annual Cal Ripken All-Star Tournament World Series, which is the one where you can go all the way down and go against the best teams in the world. We put teams in every year. So we actually combined with Pepperell Baseball to make North Middlesex Baseball for the tournament. So we're going to put teams in at 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12U. Players do need to try out and be selected for those teams. So we will be looking for the best kids for those tournaments. There is a cost to that as well. So the league covers a good chunk of it, but there will be costs associated with that as well. We'll have more information as we get closer to that. The dates are posted there. I don't believe there's going to be a Babe Ruth softball tournament. And I haven't heard from NCMS if or when they're going to do a softball all-star tournament. So, all right. Gates and sheds. So over at Craven Field, the entrance gate now can be left open at all times. Don't worry about that. If it gets closed by somebody, just open it and leave it there. The field gates and the batting cage gates have got to be closed all the time. If you're leaving the field, make sure every gate around the field and the batting cage is closed. If you don't, animals get on the field, everything gets, it's really, really important that those gates are closed. And if the chalk or quick dry bags in the shed are low, let me know and we'll get them replaced. At Spalding Field, same thing with all the gates. They got to be closed at all times, especially at that field because people will tend to bring dogs on those fields. We put up a whole bunch of signs all around Spalding saying there's no dogs allowed. So hopefully people get that this time, but it's been a continual problem for years. So I don't foresee a problem there. So last year, Spalding was the primary for the chalk and the game saver. This year, Craven will be the primary. So if you run low at Spalding, go to Craven, pick up some bags and bring them over to Spalding. If you don't have a way to do that, give me a call and I will try to do that when my next opportunity. Okay. One big change for this year is in the past, we gave the code to the sheds to all the coaches and they tended to give it to parents. It found its way to kids. Last year we had an enormous amount of stuff stolen out of the sheds, out of the snack shack. So this year we're only going to give the codes to the head coaches. Make sure you unlock and then lock it right behind you so that things do not grow legs. I mean, we had a significant amount of stuff stolen last year, so please make sure that you keep those locked and keep those codes private. The amount of kids that knew the code last year was really kind of crazy. So definitely try to keep that one under the wraps. At the batting cage at Craven, so we have the batting cage there. It's got a baseball pitching machine, but it's available for baseball, softball, anybody that wants to go use it. You can use it anytime as long as it's not a game going on. If there's a game going on, the batting cage is closed. things that are very important if you're gonna use the batting cage. If there's a power cord in the shed to plug in the machine, make sure you return the power cord to the shed when you're done. Last year, the amount of times that power cord was left out was not good, because that's everything, it was exposed to the elements, it got wet. All that's live electrical wire. And the pitching machine, it's got a cover on it. When you're done, put the cover back on. It's gotta be put back on. That the machine got completely soaked last year, and it cost us a good chunk of money to get it repaired because of it. So please put the cover on when you're done with that. And then again, when you're done with the batting cage, make sure you shut the gate behind you. Snack shacks. So like the same with the gate, the sheds, the snack shack, the code is gonna be by the head coach. He'll open and close it. So every family is scheduled to work in the snack shack up to 2 times per season, excluding coaches' families for the teams that they're coaching. And for those that saw their schedules already, you'll notice that inside the notes on the schedule actually list the parents that are required to be in the snack shack for those games. The snack shack is not optional. It has to be open for every game. So head coaches, make sure that someone's in there. And if you don't have to worry about asking, can anyone do it? The names are on the game for that day. These are the 2 people scheduled to be in there. Go hit them up. Like last year, T-ball families will not have to work the snack shack. And another note, Spalding will no longer have hot dogs or burgers. We found that basically everybody that ran the snack shack last year, there was maybe 1 out of 10 times people turned the machine on, and then the people that did turn it on went through 30 hot dogs and threw them all away. So we actually lost money at Spalding last year at the snack shack. So we need to at least break even this year, or we won't be able to run it again next year. So hopefully we'll have a little bit better attendance in the snack shack, and that won't be a problem. All right, team equipment. So we already had the pickup day. So a lot of teams all the teams already picked up their gear. The rest of the stuff will come when we do uniform handout. T-balls, there is no equipment handout. You'll get all of your, the calendar raffles and stuff at the uniform pickup. A note for T-ball, don't take anything out of the shed and take it home with you. Everything you take out for T-ball games should be used for the T-ball games and then returned to the shed. Last year, some of the T-ball coaches went through, picked the best baseballs that they could find out of all the buckets, left all the trash, and then took them with them so that they always had good balls for their team. Don't do that again. So I have new T-balls. I had to buy a whole bunch of new ones. So if you see that situation happening, let me know. But that's where we're at for team equipment. Let's see. Also on team equipment, as far as the catcher's gear goes, everybody got a full set of catcher's gear inside their bag that they picked up. Please let me know if there's anything wrong with the gear. If there's something broken, don't try to fix it. Let me know. I've got more gear, or I can order more gear. Don't what I call MacGyver anything. I've seen people take like helmets and put screws through them in different ways to try to get the bars. Don't. Just let me know. I'll get you more gear. The other thing is that we have lots of catcher's gear. So if you've got 5 kids on your team that need to catch and you don't want to have to clean gear between players, let me know. I can give you more catcher's gear. So I have plenty of it. And if I don't have enough, I'll buy more, because next year I'm going to start rotating, and we've been rotating sets out and buying new sets each year. I'll be buying more sets again for next year to replace some of the older stuff. So I've got lots of old stuff that we can give out as additional sets as needed. I gave everybody practice balls. If you need more, let me know. Everyone's going to get enough game balls for 2 game balls per game. They cost $4 to $6 a piece. If there's foul balls, you've got to go get the foul balls. Okay. So you're not going to get more game balls at the end of the year because you went through 6 game balls in one game. So keep that in mind. And then big note here is at the end of the season, everybody needs to return all of the gear they were given. Every year this has been a continual problem where coaches are not returning gear. It's well, I'm going to be in the next season, or I'm coaching next year, I don't need to return it, or any number of excuses. I need all the gear back because that's how I check it. That's how I buy replacement gear. And if I don't get it back, I don't know that's there, and I waste a lot of money on buying more stuff. So I need to get all the gear back. And one more thing that's really important, when you are ready to return your gear, please clean the bags out before you give them to me. The amount of trash, I think almost every bag that was returned last year looked like the back of the floor of somebody's car. There was trash, McDonald's, everything was in these bags. And I had cleaned it out 6 months after you gave them back to me. So I got to pick out all the moldy stuff out of the bags that were returned. Please clean them before. You don't have to dry clean them. You don't have to do anything. Just take the trash out, please. So, thank you. All right, shared equipment. So inside of our sheds, we have lots of stuff. We have lots of different training aids. We have pitching machines, we have trainers, we have tees, cones, Velcro mitts, we have hitting sticks. We've got all sorts of training gear. And if there's something you want that we don't have, let me know, I'll buy it. We have the money in our budget to buy stuff for the kids. So if you see this cool new whiz bang thing and say, hey, this would be great for my team, can you get me one? I'll buy it. You know, unless it's like $500 or something crazy. But most training aids are 10, 20, 30 bucks. I'll buy a bunch of them. So we want to have more things for the kids. So anything you need, let me know, I'll buy them. And we want to have these things for the kids. So keep me posted on anything you need. Pitcher Day and Hit-a-thon. So as I mentioned earlier, the Pitcher Day and Hit-a-thon is scheduled for May 15th. While technically this is optional, we really want every player and coach to be at, especially the Pitcher Day. It's really important that they're there because people that pay to have their pictures taken, they're going to get a team picture and they want all of their teammates there. They want to see their coaches in their picture. Please make sure you can try to get there for that event. And when you're there, you're going to get a coach's shirt. You're going to get a team hat. Please wear those and not something else. I've seen team pictures where coaches are wearing some random, other types of shirts or hats. Please wear your TA branded stuff that we're going to provide for you. It just makes the pitch, it's a memory for the kids. So we want to have that important memory for them looking like Tabes. So on that, for the hit-a-thon, one of your coaches for each team will need to do the pitching for their team. So just keep that in mind. We will give awards immediately after the hit-a-thon for each team. And there'll be 2 things that'll be handed out. There'll be certificates for anybody who hit their goal. We will be doing the same goals we did last year. Any kid who raises $75 will get a banana split gift certificate. And then I will also hand out a trophy for the kid on every team who hit the furthest on their team, not the division, but their individual teams. There'll be 1 trophy and gift certificates handed out for anybody who hit their goals. As we get towards the end of the day, the seniors level team are going to do a home run derby, which is a pretty cool event for everybody to watch. So even if you come early in the day for your pictures, feel free to come back. It's a really cool event to see the big kids step on Craven Field and start crushing them out of the field. It's a lot of fun. Kids like to run outside of the fence and start catching them in the woods. And it's really a fun time. And then right after that, we're going to do a pickup game with slow pitch softball. So anybody, any parent, any friend, sibling, player, anybody that wants to join in, we throw everybody together. We all jump on the field and we all play a game together. It's a lot of fun. If you're around and want to, it'll be available. The snack shack will also be open all day, serving food, hot dogs, hamburgers, everything. And we'll be selling TA gear as well all day. All right, so I'm going to talk about the COVID-19 rules for this year. So let's see. So going through them simply, if a kid has a temperature of 100 or higher, we don't want them to come to the field. If they have they show signs during a practice, ask the parents if they want them taken out. You don't need to make that decision. If they sneeze, that doesn't mean you need to rip them off the field and say, go home. You know, you're not doctors, we don't expect you to be, so don't worry about it. We want all the players when they get to the field and the coaches to sanitize their hands. Last year we asked for it to be done in presence of the coaches. We're just saying, just make sure it gets done. Poke them and ask them, hey, did you wash your hands before you got here? Great. Shared catcher's gear, it does need to be washed or wiped down in between kids using it. So this is where I was saying, if you need multiple sets of gear, just let me know. And then at the end of a game, instead of forming two lines and shaking hands, you want both teams will line up on the foul lines, look to the team and just tip the hat and say good game. Okay. We want to make sure that they still remember that sportsmanship is important, even though we're in this kind of crazy time where we can't go and shake hands with other people. So nothing that really got missed last year, but it's important that there is no eating during practice or games. So that doesn't mean they can't eat something after a game or before a game, but during the game, you can't eat anything, especially in the dugouts. And that includes candy, gum, sunflower seeds. We don't want people spitting. Those types of things are considered a COVID no-no. So be cautious on that. And some of the more important COVID rules. So if you're traveling to another town that's hosting a game, their rules are our rules. So if whatever their rules are, we have to follow them. And all of the towns are going to post their rules. So before you go to any game, you need to check what their rules are and make sure you follow them, because they can change. If their rules say that no player can step on without a bunny suit, that's the rule we have to follow. It doesn't matter what craziness they have, whatever rule they have, that is the rules we have to go by. For our own rules, so which the current guideline from the state is that all players, coaches, and spectators have to wear face covering when not at one of our facilities. When at one of our facilities. This is all time for everybody. There's no exceptions other than those with true medical exceptions. And as of right now, there's only one person in the entire league who has a medical exception, and that's it. So everybody should have a mask on. This is the state rule law. This is the rule. We have to follow it. If we don't follow it, we can get shut down. So we don't want that to happen. Those who got exceptions last year, they don't follow through to this year. So please, and last year we had a lot of parents that just said, yeah, I got a medical exception. They have to be real medical exceptions, not just, I don't like masks. So we don't have that option this year. And then just lastly, these rules are going to change. So the state's updating their guidance all the time. They update the sports guidelines at least once a month right now. So as things change, we'll adjust and we'll let you know when things change. And hopefully some of these restrictions start going away soon. But as of right now, this is what we have to work with in order to play. So this is what we'll be doing. Big one now for every team, minors and above. Game changer is required. So if you have a minors, majors, seniors team, you have to be running Game Changer. We're not giving out books. You have to use the app on a phone or tablet. It's a free app. It can be used anywhere, but start playing with it, start using it. If you have questions on how to use it, let me know. I'll be happy to sit down and teach you how to use it individually. It's not that hard. The first 2 games that you use it, you're going to go, this is awful. I hate this. And then the third game, you're going to go, wow, I can't live without this. So it's going to click all of a sudden, because once you learn how to use it, it's one of the best things you'll ever have as a coach. because it just, the way it gives all the statistics and shows you how your team's doing, and the kids love it. It shows them all their stats. And this year they even updated the app to be able to broadcast games. So you could actually have a parent connect to Game Changer and they could put their phone on the fence and broadcast the game live. So, which is a really cool, not like the Gamecast like we had before, but it actually showed the video of a game going on. So for those like family members that can't go to the fields, might be a really, really cool way for them to be able to see games. So that's on the Game Changer. So we want to talk a little bit about the practice and game day responsibilities. So I'm going to go through some of these because they're important to understand. So we need to make sure the snack shack's open and staffed during games. The coaches need to make sure that the field's in good, safe playing condition. If the field's wet, there's bags of Play Safe or Quick Dry in the sheds. Don't use more than a single bag of Quick Dry for a game. You can literally use a cup of Quick Dry and cover an entire 30 by 30 area. It's not sand. So definitely keep that in mind. They are like $14 a bag. So definitely keep an eye on how much you use. The rookies and up, baselines and batter boxes need to be lined with chalk. T-ball doesn't need to do this, but we do recommend you do it for first game, last game, any special events, anything like that. Go ahead and line the field. It makes it look cool for the kids. It gives them that little extra experience. You can do it every game if you really want to, but you don't have to for T-ball. So really important, at the end of every game in practice, the base paths, the home plate, the pitcher's mound have to be raked and the infield needs to be dragged. You have to make sure the dugouts are cleaned and trash is emptied into the dumpsters. Make sure you get parents to help you with this. Tell your parents to help. Don't let them walk off the field unless they've helped clean. I will go, if I'm at games and I see parents walking away, I will start saying stuff to them that it shouldn't be the coaches doing all the work and then having to clean the field. So try to get your parents to help on that. I get another thing I want to talk about that a little bit more after. And then keep an eye out on the field conditions. So if grass and weeds start growing on the infield, immediately try getting rid of it. The hula hoe, which is this pitcher tool here that's in all the sheds, takes 2 seconds to get out little patches of grass that start growing. If you do that as it starts, it won't become a mess like what we've seen in the past. It doesn't take much to keep up with it, but once it starts going wild, it's days worth of effort for people to clean up. So please try to make sure that you don't just let it be. Okay. This year, the home team coach has to pay the umpire. We'll give you cash for all of your games when you do pick up your uniforms. So last year we held on to it. This year, all the coaches will be given cash. So you'll need to make sure you pay the umpire before your game. And the home team provides game balls. So we will give you those game balls, as I mentioned earlier. So again, to re-stress the field cleanup. So at the end of every practicing game, you have to do the cleanup. It doesn't matter if you're the next team to use the field. Work to get rid of the weed in the grass. And when you use the drag, make sure you go all the way to the grass line. So what we'll find is that people will take the drag, they'll go out there and start dragging it, but people will only go 5-10 feet away from the edge. Oh, well, there's a little bit of grass there. I'll just keep coming in and in and in. That's how the grass grows. The grass doesn't grow if we drag it every single day. We have games and event practices every single day. If we drag, the weeds won't come. So try to make sure you get all the way to all the dirt should be run to drag over every day. And like I said, just spend 5 minutes, walk the field with the hula hoe and remove any random growth that comes in. And it will save a lot. And then empty the trash barrels into the dumpster. A couple times last year, the barrels in the dugouts were starting to overflow. they should never get to that point. They should be dumped out at every game. So please make sure that they get dumped out. Pitcher and catcher safety standards. So for the MAC League this year, they're going to continue with one more year of innings requirements. Starting next year, they're going to be moving to pitch counts. So it's really important that coaches start paying attention to pitch counts. This is how doing the old fashioned, this kid can pitch 3 innings, 6 innings a week or 3 innings a game. That's how kids get their arms blown out. And that's where you see all them getting the Tommy John, the surgeries for the arms. So be careful on that one. So really Game Changer will very much help with this because it will keep track of it for you. You won't have to do it, but it'll let you see it. It'll give you alarms and alerts. But keep this in mind. So even though the requirements for the MAC League is going to say, innings, you should be, as the coach, watching your pitches, your pitchers' pitch count to make sure that they're not going up high. If anybody starts throwing pitches, I've seen some kids go 100+ pitches. That kid will never pitch in high school if we do that in the little leagues. So please keep an eye on the kid's safety. And like I said, it will change officially next year, but this year we're going to be kind of in this hybrid model. Field availability. So right now, all of our fields are open. Craven Field's open. Spalding is open. Allen Field is open. For Allen Field, you can do practices up there, except for seniors. Seniors, all their games are at Allen Field. If you're going to do practices up there, you need to bring equipment with you to clean up. Ashby Elementary is also available. And again, clean up when you're done for practices. We cannot use Hawthorne Brook, the North Middlesex baseball, or the North Middlesex softball field. Do not go there with your teams because they will charge us the moment we step on those fields. So be don't use those fields at any time. All right. As far as some stuff on scheduling practices and games, so everybody's games will be put into the system for them. You don't have to worry about scheduling the initial games. You will need to worry about reschedules. So keep that in mind. For the MAC League, for minors and majors baseball, the MAC site is the master source for all the games. But when you make changes there, you need to make changes on the TABE site. Parents are all connected to the TABE site, so it's important that you update stuff there. That way they get notifications of stuff. Same thing on softball. NCMS website is the master system. So when you have to make changes there and on the TABE site. That way we don't have conflicts. So games have priority over practices at all the fields. And sometimes you'll see me go through and I will start canceling practices because I need to reschedule a game. Or sometimes I might move a game from Craven over to Spalding if I need to get major 70s in at Craven Field, because they can only play games at Craven, where minors and major 60s can also play at Spalding if needed. I prefer not to put games for those guys there, but in the event of reschedules and scheduling conflicts, we'll use Spalding for some of that for the options. So I think that's everything really for there. As far as weather and lightning goes, so T-ball, don't worry about having to cancel stuff. The league will cancel it for you. You'll get notifications when we cancel something. For rookies, it's okay to be a little bit more liberal on when you cancel games. There's a lot of games scheduled for rookies on purpose so that you can cancel games because those don't get rescheduled. So I think we scheduled 18, but we expect you to play 12. So as long as you are at that 12 number by the end of the season, you did good. So don't worry about that. For the rookies, we'd rather them not really go out in the rain and bad weather because we want them to stay excited about playing the game. Beyond rookies, for minors and up, don't ever cancel a game more than 2 hours in advance. The weather here changes constantly. So try to get every game in no matter what. And for minors and above, we play games in the light rain and in moderate rain. The only time we don't play games is if it's heavy rain or if the field becomes unsafe. So as soon as it becomes a slip and slide, games stop. But it's okay to practice in the rain. It's okay to have games in the rain. And you can do that and keep the fields going well. Use the quick dry. At Craven, there is a big pile of dirt that you can use to fill in some of the big puddles. Use it and keep your games going the best you can. It's really important to try to get those games in. I can tell you firsthand that my players know that I don't cancel games or practices ever. My seniors team last year, I had them practicing in the grandstands during a rain where it was lightning so that they weren't out on the field when it started getting torrential. So you can find different ways to get stuff done. So I really recommend that people really try to get those games in. We just don't have the fields to reschedule games. On game cancellations, what is the process for how to do it? Don't cancel it more than 2 hours in advance. You want to go, if you're going to cancel the game, make the call either at 2 hours or at the field. So if you get to the field and an umpire shows up, we have to pay them. So you got to play the game a little bit and try to figure out what's the right call. If you look at the weather and there's 100% chance of rain, heavy rain for the next 7 hours, yeah, make that call the 2 hour mark and cancel that game. But if it's wishy-washy, give it a shot. When you make the decision to cancel, you got to go onto the Tabes website, cancel the game. As soon as you cancel the game, it will send a text notification and an email to every parent. If parents don't have their phone number and carrier set up on their profiles, it will not text them. So I recommend you poke your parents and say, hey, don't forget to make sure your phone number is in there, because if there's a cancellation or a schedule change, it will text you. And the thing that is critical here is that if you're going to cancel a game, you need to contact Jason Batiste immediately. You need to text him and let him know that you're going to be canceling that game. He is the way to get in touch. He will take care of canceling the umpire. So if you don't do that, and if you cancel the game and don't tell Jason, the umpire is going to go to the field and we're going to get charged. So make sure that you talk to Jason or text him and get confirmation that the umpire is not going to be there. All right. And then just one other quick note here is if you have to cancel something, don't delete it from the website. Make sure you change the status to deleted, or change the status to canceled. If you change it to status to canceled, it will send out notifications and it will still show up on the schedule as a canceled event. If you delete it, it will not send notifications, even though it says it will. So it sends some, but not to everybody, and it disappears completely from the schedule. So we lose complete visibility into what the history was of it. So don't delete stuff. Game results. For minors major baseball and all softball teams, you have 24 hours from the time the game is done to the time you have to update the MAC site or the NCMS site with the results of the game. So the MAC League and the NCMS League need to have this information updated as soon as possible. So please make sure you update that stuff. Every one of our coaches should have got an email today, at least from the MAC, the minors and majors side, with a login to that site. If you didn't get it, let me know and I will get you connected and set up in there. And then also usually when I update that, this is the good time to, if you had pictures taken, send them to results@tabes.org, and that will get to Jess, and then she will start posting them all over Facebook and showing the cool things that the kids are doing. A lot of people ask about coach training and certification. So we had the basic certification done as part of every coach's requirements this year. Dugout captain is something we partnered with a couple of years ago, and we highly, highly recommend using them. If you go, it's free. You go out there, you can put in the age of the kids, what program you're running, and it will give tons of practice plans, lesson plans, all the way from T-ball up to high school varsity. It's got videos on how to do practices. It walks through everything. So if you haven't taken a look at it, check it out. It's really, it's worth doing. And then USA Baseball, where everybody got your certifications, they also offer higher level B and C courses as well. I've taken them all. They actually get much better than the A stuff that everybody had to take, the basics. The B and especially the C certifications actually goes to some really good detail. And then Babe Ruth also has some paid training. I actually don't recommend this unless you're going to be coaching in one of the postseason Cal Ripken tournaments. If you're going to be coaching in one of those, you have to take the Babe Ruth training. So I wouldn't recommend it unless you plan on doing that. And you only have to do it once lifetime. So some general recommendations. So if you have not already, send out the welcome email to your parents. Let them know who you are, let them know what your plans are, let them know your goals and stuff like that for the year. I recommend that you have an introductory meeting with your parents and team. You can do it virtually, you can do it at the field, whatever you're comfortable with, but it's usually a good way just as kind of a meet and greet. Review those safety guidelines with your parents, and make sure you stress to the parents the commitment level for practices and games. So baseball is not an optional sport. The kids can't really say, well, I don't really want to go to this game, or I don't want to go today, or we're going to schedule to go away for the weekend. Baseball season is 2 months, and we do really ask that the parents commit to being there for the 2 months. So some of our teams, especially at the majors level, have 9 and 10 kids on them. So if one kid doesn't show up for a game, that team's going to forfeit. So make sure you stress with your parents that it's important that they're there and on time.
Our league also has a really great ability to create amazing bonds with these teams. They bond really well and strong, spending time together. They consider themselves teammates for a long time down the road. And for kids to miss games or practices and not feel part of that team would be a shame.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. They spend so much time during these couple of months. It really does make a big difference. And beyond spring season, we also have a summer season, which is much more laid back. We have a fall season, which is even more laid back. So there are a lot of these kids could get a lot of baseball in, or softball, baseball and softball. So there's a lot of it there. So the other things that I kind of recommend is for those that need to use Game Changer, go download it now, start practicing it. Plan to take your team out for ice cream when you can. Plan an end of season party if you can. This is good. Usually the end of season party is a great place for like T-ball and rookie to hand out their trophies. It doesn't have to be elaborate, but usually something at the end to celebrate their season is a really good thing. One thing I started doing with my players over the past couple of years is, as Jess was mentioning, that bond with the players. I've actually been taking my team to other events outside of our program. So one of our kids on our team last year was in a play, and we piled in the cars, and all the players, the whole team, went to go watch him in a play. He was so happy that all of his teammates showed up for his event. It meant a lot to him, and those kids really bonded well. And when the kids have that tight bond, they play better together. So it's easier for the coaches too. So. All right, safety training. So from here, I'm going to hand it off to Jess, and Jess, let me know when you want me to switch pages, and we can go from there.
Sounds good. Hi, everyone. So this year's safety training is not exactly the same as years past. We have some exciting new safety equipment, thanks to Keith and all of our great board members. You can feel free to go to the next page, Keith. So we'll start at the beginning, and then we'll get to the new equipment. First aid equipment and emergency equipment. The important thing for you guys as coaches is to remember that you're the adults on the field, and the kids are going to look up to you. So any emergencies, just stay calm. The kids, no matter what age, are going to trust you if you stay calm. Even if you see something that's scary, take a deep breath and try and stay calm. All right. It's also important to recognize what is an emergency, what could be a serious injury versus that small scrape. And sometimes you might look at it and say it is nothing, but you have to recognize that some injuries, no matter how minor, can become serious. They twisted their ankle, but they're walking it off. Just remember to bring that up to the parent and the guardian, because you don't want to find out 4 days from now they're walking with a limp or claiming they can't play in gym because of something they did on the baseball field. And at any point, if you can't contact a parent or guardian and you think that, your spidey sense says that something's wrong, always you can call 911. Just because you call 911 does not mean the kid is being rushed off to Boston or any local hospital. You're just asking for someone who is more of a professional in examining these injuries. They can come out and just assess it and tell you what they think needs to be done. Also, after any incident, notify Keith or myself so we can follow up. Sometimes I find out a few days after the fact that someone might have lost a tooth or went to the hospital even for something that happened on the field. I like to follow up and make sure they're doing okay. Can we do anything to help them? What's going on? And of course, for our insurances. Again, anything minor, relay it to the parents. Let's see. And the children on your team, keep in mind that some of them may have pre-existing injuries, such as medical conditions, I should say, diabetes, asthma, allergies. When you're meeting the parents, ask them if there's anything you need to know about it. Do they have inhalers? Do they have EpiPens? And if they have any of these equipments, do they have them with them all the time? Is there anything you need to know about using these? You're going to be the adult. You're going to find a lot of the time parents may drop them off and just leave for practices, but you're going to now be responsible for them. If any parent tells you about a medical condition that you're unsure about or uncomfortable about, feel free to reach out to me and we can talk about it, and I can give you an idea of what you should be looking for if the parent hasn't already mentioned it to you. And again, always important to try and start your practices and your games with a warm-up routine to try and prevent any injuries. We want them to have a healthy lifestyle and practice and learn healthy routines that will follow them hopefully throughout their life. And then encourage them to drink water, plenty of water. We're good for the next page, Keith. So this is some of our newest equipment. We're very excited, or I am, because I'm a EMS geek. I have been an EMT for a long time, and to get this equipment was very exciting for me. Each field is going to have this emergency response kit. You'll see the photo at the top shows you what that kit looks like. It's about the size of a lunch bag. It's going to be at each field, most likely the first in the snack shacks is available.
Brandon Bruin
joined the meeting.
These kits are for more serious injuries, not just because someone has a scrape. Someone's out on the field and they are down, grab this and you can run out to them. I've showed you the Band-Aids are kept in the front pocket, zipper pocket. On the inside, on the top, under those pockets, there's rubber gloves. There's a cling. There's the tourniquets. And then in the main section, there is going to be emergency blanket, ice packs, a flexible splint, which we're going to go over, and a compression bandage. Obviously, if you use anything out of this equipment or in this kit, please notify me so I can refill it. Again, I absolutely hope you're notifying me if you're using these, because these are leading to a more serious injury. Next page. So some medical conditions and injuries we'll just go over, some brief ones and common ones. Many of your kids may have allergies to bees, peanuts, anything these days. If your child on your team has allergies, ask the parent about it and the severity of the allergy. If a child has an EpiPen, and if they have it with them at all times. When a child has an allergic reaction, the things that you're looking for, if there's hives or welts, rashes can be seen around the core of the body. That happens or their face or their extremities. If they develop, it can develop pretty quickly, and these are what you're looking for. If you hear wheezing or shortness of breath, that is absolutely severe. These are signs of anaphylaxis. When you see this, you want to use that EpiPen. Make sure the EpiPen is for that child, not their brothers, not their friends, not grandma's. It's got to be an EpiPen with their name on it. When you're using an EpiPen, do not put your thumb over the top of that pen. All right. It's going to be, hold it, wrap your hand around it, and you're going to inject into the side of their thigh. You don't have to worry about pants being removed. The needle goes right through that. Usually they're pretty self-explanatory, but if anyone has one on a team or is nervous about the theoretically needing to use them, feel free to reach out to me. When you do inject that into the thigh, you're going to hold that for probably a count of 10. Hold that pen against the thigh for a count of 10, and then you can remove it and rub that thigh. Hopefully you've already called 911 and an ambulance will arrive and parents, and you should see the EpiPen helping the child breathe better relatively soon. Asthma. Many children have different levels of asthma. And again, if the parents tell them that they have an inhaler, you should ask them what signs of severity are. If they increase wheezing, there's sound of whistling and breathing in and out, if they have chest tightness, shortness of breath, if they can't speak, if their lips look blue, you see that their neck, you see muscles or veins coming from their neck when they're speaking, or breathing. Coughing spells when they're moving around, if they're breathing really fast, if they don't get any relief from their inhaler. These are all signs of severe asthma attack, and you shouldn't hesitate to call 911. Good for our next page. Nosebleeds. This can happen a lot, especially with the younger kids. They might accidentally get hit with the baseballs when they're trying to catch them. You want them to pinch the soft part of their nose right between the eyes, and you want to pinch that for a long time. Don't keep stopping and letting go to see if your nose is still bleeding. Sit them down and have them hold it for a good 10 minutes. Hold that tight. And you're not going to lean backwards. They want to lean forward. All right. We don't want any of the blood draining down their throat. Lean forward, hold that for 10 minutes. Of course, if you need any gauze to try and keep it clean, or sometimes ice packs are kind of like lollipops and Band-Aids for some kids. It makes them feel a lot better afterwards. You can use those. Of course, if it doesn't stop bleeding after a long period of time, contact the parents. Doesn't happen often with kids. Usually it does stop, but they may want to go to the doctor if a nosebleed does not stop on its own after a few minutes, and you're definitely holding that pressure. Fractures and sprains. This is where we get to one of our newer pieces of equipment. Again, this is our splint. If any of you remember our old slap bracelets, the splint is rolled up currently, but when you unroll it, it will form a hard surface. And there's also a soft surface against the skin. So it can act as a splint for any broken or fractured body part. Obviously, most likely, an arm or leg or ankle. So the thing to keep in mind, any neck or back injury, that is severe and that is serious. You don't want to be the one making the judgment call on whether it is not a serious injury. So there's two types of fractures, the open and the closed. Open, you would see bone through the skin. Feel free to grab our splint. And call 911, wrap that up, make sure there's no serious bleeding. So any fractures or sprains, I've got my husband screaming in the background, sorry, he's enjoying this. So you're going to see pain in the injured area, swelling. If there's obvious deformity, then that again, you're gonna know that's a break. Sometimes there are dislocations versus fractures or sprains. Again, those all can be very painful, and they're going to need to see a doctor. If there's difficulty using or moving the injured area in a normal manner. there's bruising, redness in the area. Again, you may not be able to know the difference between a fracture sprain or a muscle or ligament damage. That's again why we always want to refer them to see a doctor to make that judgment call. There's lots of ice packs. If you use them, we have more. There's ice packs in your coach's kit. There's ice packs in the emergency response kit. I'd rather you not go into that for the ice packs if you don't have to. There will be boxes of additional ice packs at all fields, in the sheds or in the snack shack. We can move on to the next page. Lacerations. Whenever there's a large amount of bleeding, obviously we've got the Band-Aids for the small amount of bleeding, but if there's a large amount that's not going to stop, you want to apply the clean sterile gauze that you have, one at a time on top, put some pressure on that wound, hold that there. And if it's very severe and it's still not stopping, continue placing that gauze on top, but call 911 if you can't stop that bleeding. All right, if it keeps bleeding through, keep applying more sterile gauze. If you run out of gauze, any clean towels, dressings that you might find, we've got new equipment. Again, we don't expect to use this. We haven't gotten this because we, had anything serious happen last year, but we just want to be prepared. We love our kids and we even love our bystanders. This is stuff that could be used for kids on the fields or someone that falls off a bleacher. We just want to be prepared because we don't want to be that league that has something happen and we were not able to help them. We're being proactive here. So that bleeding that, someone falls on a stick, whatever it may be, it's a very severe laceration and it's hemorrhaging, more blood loss than you can imagine. We've got something called our compression bandage. All right, and it's that bottom left-hand photo is what you're going to see. You see it's got directions on how to use it right there on the package. You're going to pull that out and you're going to wrap it tightly around the wound. A couple times it shows you it's got a splint that you're going to wrap through after you go around, and then you're going to go back around a couple times. These are used in war zones. It should be able to stop almost any bleeding without necessarily going to the tourniquet, which is the next item that we have in each bag. If for some reason that bandage isn't working, yes, we may use tourniquets. It was discovered after the bombing in Boston that tourniquets are not the worst thing to do. If you can save a life by stopping bleeding, we are minutes from hospitals here. We can get you to a hospital very quickly. We can get you to Boston pretty quickly. So using a tourniquet is better than letting someone lose large amounts of blood. Again, we don't anticipate you having to use them, but we have these if we ever need them.
Yeah.
Good for the next page, Keith. The heat exhaustion, heat stroke, these are things that typically happen or could happen on those hot days. Most likely in the summer leagues, but then you never know if kids aren't drinking enough water, if they're standing out in the heat. You just want to keep in mind to look for the symptoms: dizziness, if they're thirsty, shivering, they had headaches, slur words. Just keep an eye out, pay attention to these: heat exhaustion, heat stroke. I'm not expecting you to be able to diagnose your child or any player with one or the other, but keep in mind to just, if you see any of these symptoms, to call 911 and make sure that child sees a doctor. Next page. So symptoms of concussions. Concussions are, wrong page for me. Sorry, I went too far. Head injuries. Concussions, head injuries can actually be really severe for kids. Kids have an ability most of the time to compensate for a lot of injuries, a lot of issues, but head injuries, when the kids get hit, they can actually have symptoms and issues that will follow them through their life change. Kids can actually have emotional changes from small concussions. So we don't want to ignore the simple ding or getting your bell rung. If kids get bumped to the head, really pay attention to them. If they need to sit down for a couple innings and maybe even follow up with a doctor. You've got to pay attention to those things, because I've known several kids in the last few years who've had concussions that have been long lasting effects. There was kids that had to skip school for weeks, not necessarily from our league, but I'm just letting you know that concussions are not something to be ignored for kids. They are very serious. And in this next page, we've got a signs and symptoms for you to look at. Dazed and stunned. If they forget instruction, they're moving clumsy. I would recommend for you guys as coaches to actually print these 2 pages out, or these signs and symptoms in action, and have it with you. Have it on a clipboard with you at games, so that if you're wondering, hey, is that something that I should be paying attention to? It's right there in front of you. And the CDC also has a very nice concussion training protocol, which is on the next page here. I highly advise, if you want to go ahead and go to that next page, Keith. Yep, thank you. It's 30 minutes. It's very educational. And it's easy and free. I really recommend you all just to click on that link and take that free training for concussions. It's important to keep an eye, and we want to keep our kids safe. We're good. Let's see. So, and the more expensive emergency equipment we have. All of our fields now have AEDs. We've been very lucky to be able to purchase or have AEDs donated to us. So each field has an AED. Because of the manner of getting them, we weren't picky about making sure they were all the same brand. So they are 3 different AEDs, but the important thing to know is they're automatic, and they will speak to you and they will guide you through the steps. So what do you need to know? Why would you need the AED? If someone stops breathing, whether they fall, they become unconscious, and you see that they are not breathing, any unconscious person, bystander or player, that you can tell is not breathing. And if there's any doubt, you think maybe they are, or maybe they're not breathing, you know what? Most likely they're not breathing, unfortunately. Grab this AED and call 911. At Spalding, we have the Zoll, which is kind of a lime yellow AED. And you're gonna see that in the top 2 photos. You'll see the photo of it before it's opened, and the next photo next to it, it's the open photo. As soon as you open these AEDs, the Zoll, you do have to hit the power button, and they're going to talk to you, and they're going to walk you through every step of how to use the AED. If you know CPR, then obviously you would like to do CPR while it tells you to do it. I also highly recommend, if you call 911, you may get me on the other line, depending on what town you're in, and the dispatcher can instruct you on how to do CPR. You, another coach, another bystander. CPR can be easily instructed over the phone, and we can help you in doing everything we can for whoever may be down. Again, whether it's a player or a bystander, AEDs can make a huge difference. So we've got the Zoll, we have a Heart Start, and then we have a Cardiac Science. Each field will have one. They're going to be in the snack shacks, and each one has the pads and a battery, as well as you can see inside on the bottom right, they will have a mouth guard if you were to choose to do rescue breaths. They have scissors or a razor in case someone were to go down and you need to remove their shirt, or if it was a gentleman that might have a chest that is a little hairy, those can be used to help get the stickers on. Each of these AEDs, they have video links here, the YouTube links. If you know you're going to be spending more time at one of these fields, I highly recommend watching these videos. They're not more than a few minutes long, and it just shows you how easy to use these AEDs. There's stickers that you go on the chest. If it's a small child, it could be front and back of the child. If you want to go to that next page, Keith. All right, so they all work on the same principle. I've added a couple other links. These links are really educational. The pediatric AED link, it shows you how even kids can use AEDs and have used these AEDs to make a huge difference in someone's life. These videos just show you how easy it is and how it can be done. Again, like I said, each of these don't take more than a few minutes at a time. I'd appreciate it if you take a look at them. As cardiac arrest victims who receive a shock from a publicly available AED that was administered by a bystander have a 2.6 times higher odds of survival to hospital discharge and 2.73 times more favorable outcomes for functioning compared to victims who received an AED shock after responders arrive. So anyone can make a difference, and that's pretty awesome. You know, victims who received an AED shock from a bystander, 57.1% using publicly available device instead of having to wait for a responder, had a near normal function and better outcomes. All right. So again, this is just the ability and the availability to make a difference if unfortunately that bad situation occurs. We don't want to be saying, what if we had something? We're going to be prepared. Next page. We're almost done. We're getting there. So face masks, as Keith mentioned earlier, everyone on the fields, adults, children should be wearing the face masks. Athletes have been playing with face masks for quite a long time. It's perfectly fine to exercise with a face mask. The only thing that you might have is if anyone has one of those underlying issues, such as asthma, that they might have a little harder time. But otherwise, you shouldn't be concerned about them exercising with face masks. If you're concerned about that, or if they express difficulty, you're going to look at their respiratory. Are they breathing really, really fast? Are they becoming short of breath or lightheaded or dizzy? Those are very rare, but those are things you can look for. On to the next page, we're just about there. Medical kits. So as we said, each coach has medical kits. Those medical kits are a little bit smaller than a normal lunch pail. They have ice packs, Band-Aids, sterile gauze. The thing that obviously gets used most is those ice packs. I don't give you a whole pile of them. There's always extras in each field's shed or snack shack. You can replenish when you use them from that facility if you need it. If you notice that any of your medical kit stock is running low or the sheds are running low, please let me know. I always have extra and I'm ready to restock anyone that needs it. But if I don't know that you're using it, I can't do anything about that. Most of the time, like I said, it's the ice packs that you use. Maybe Band-Aids. Obviously, there's medical tape in there because Band-Aids, when you run around, they're sweaty and dirty, might not stick. That is about it. We're good to go. So yeah, feel free to reach out to me.
Thanks, Jess. Really appreciate it. All right, so moving on, the last section here is really some updates on the league in general. So to give you an idea of where the league stands and what where we're at. Let's see. So here's our current board of directors. So if anybody is interested in joining the board, please let me know. We're next year we will be down a few people, so we're going to be looking for some additional help. So if you are interested, please feel free to reach out to me. We'd love some more help. I wanted to show this just to kind of give you an idea of what our numbers look like. So this year on the baseball side, we're actually really good. We're actually at 174 players for baseball this year. Last year, before COVID, we were actually at 175, and then we dropped to 107 after COVID hit. So we took a big hit last year. But this year we're actually So 174 is our highest number in baseball since 2013. So that's really, really great to see. On the softball side, unfortunately, it's not quite as good. We actually look really good on our rookies and minors, where we have a full team of 12 players on both. We weren't able to field a majors or seniors team this year, so hopefully we're basically rebuilding that program, and that the younger kids stick with it, and we continue to build our program up over the next couple of years. So if you know more kids that want to play softball, keep them engaged, and let's get them out playing. This year, I do believe we're going to have our off-season program. We weren't able to do our winter clinics this past year because the schools were shut down or locked up. So we weren't able to do that, but we do believe that we're probably going to have summer baseball and summer softball, as well as fall baseball and fall softball. So there should be programs for both seasons for the kids that want to play beyond spring. And again, summer baseball and fall baseball are much less competitive and much more relaxed environments. So those programs are designed for, yeah, you know, we're going on vacation and we're going to miss 2 weeks. No big deal. That's a great time for, you know, laid back, fun times. So I definitely recommend people poke on those if you get a chance. I wanted to show this. This is basically the budget for this year. So everything on the left, these are our operational expenses. So this is everything on the left here is what it takes to run our program. So for this year, our total expenses are about $46,000. With our income is what we get from player registrations. This year we brought in $19,487. So as you can tell, it's a pretty big difference. So we're starting out this year $27,000 in the hole. So not a great thing, but we actually plan, we know that every year and we plan for it. So on the right side, this is why we do all the this is why we have fundraising. This is why we do sponsors. This is why we have our hit-a-thon, all these different events that we have, because those bring in additional money. Our calendar raffle brings in $7 grand. Our hit-a-thon brings in $7 grand, 10 grand, even sometimes we've seen up to 12 one year. Pitcher Day brings in $500. Our sponsors this year, we brought in $26,000 in sponsors. So between all of our fundraising and efforts this year, we expect to bring in about 42 grand. So if you take out, that means at the end of this year, we should be sitting on about 15 grand extra, and which is about exactly where we want to be. So that 15 grand is what we use for capital projects for next year. So every year we spend anywhere from 10 to 40 grand in capital projects, depending on how big that number is for that particular year. So for next year, we should have a pretty good, we'll probably end up with about 20 grand there is my guess, to be able to spend on capital projects for next year. So the last couple of years, we've done dugouts, we've done field upgrades, we've done field rebuilds, we've done sheds, stacks, we've done all sorts of stuff to get our program better over the past couple of years, and we're going to keep doing that. So
Can I just say some things that you guys can do as coaches to help this keep going and keep that money going? Keep your kids excited, you know, get them excited for the hit-a-thon, you know, the snack shacks, get the parents involved, engage the kids, and, you know, using those concession stands and getting them excited for the hit-a-thon, challenging them. As a coach, I've dared my kids, hit this much and I will donate money to your hit-a-thon. Not asking you and expecting you to do that as coaches, but engage them and keep them excited, and it will keep pouring into the league. It'll show effects in the long run. We really appreciate you guys, and you can make a big difference.
Yep. Yeah, and I think to note, like this money that we bring in, 100% of that goes back to the program in facility upgrades, player equipment upgrades. 100% of it. There are no paid positions. There are no third-party costs like that. Everything goes back into the program. So the more we make, the better the program is the next year for the kids. So I like to show this on the right side. So this year, our average fee to parents was $99. So it costs us $236 for every single player that signs up. So keep that in mind when parents say, well, why do I have to go into the snack shack? Or, wow, this is so expensive. When the reality is we should be charging 3 times what we do now just to be able to break even. So it's just a good way to level set what we're doing here with the league. So so for this year, we've got a handful of major projects that we were able to put together. So at Allen Field, we just demolished and building brand new dugouts over there, kind of like what we did with Spalding last year. Look awesome. The designs look great. The concrete was poured today and construction will be going up on Monday. So I can't wait to see those. The mound on the seniors field is going to be ripped out and rebuilt, and the infield is going to be completely recut over there. So it's going to be a regulation senior size field, which is actually the same size as MLB. So seniors and MLB play on the same size field. So, which is kind of cool. So when your kids are 13, they're going to be playing on that size field. We acquired the AED device at Allen Field. We originally were going to buy it, but the Ashby Fire Department donated it, so we saved some money there. At Craven Field, we are finally going to install the foul lines that we bought. It's going to cost us a little bit because we have to dig trenches, but that's going to be something we're actually going to hope to get done tomorrow. And we bought at Craven Field all of the yellow fence covering that's been on there that's been breaking apart for the past couple of years and starting to look pretty bad. We're going to pull all that off. We bought all brand new fence caps, so it's going to be nice, bright, and shiny, and much safer. No longer metal breaking through or any of that type of stuff. And then we bought a brand new AED device for Spalding. So, like just mentioned earlier, we now have AEDs at all 3 of our fields. So it was a pretty good year coming off of a relatively hard year for everybody, including the league, with 2020 COVID disaster. So I like to show this because this gives you a real good idea on all the sponsors that we got this year. All of these companies have donated and sponsored banners and teams and everything to help our league and our players run. So when you need contractors, when you need services, and you need agents, and you call these guys, let them know, hey, I saw that you guys helped out our kids baseball and softball league. We'd like to hire you for whatever we need to get done. These they give to us. So if you have that opportunity to give back to them, we recommend it. We've been doing this for a couple of years. So at all of our snack shacks, what we do is that any uniformed military or public safety personnel that come to the snack shack, we give them a free meal, hot dogs, soda, and chips. So we've had a bunch of people take advantage of this, which is pretty cool. And that's just our little way of the league of giving back to some of the people that take care of us. So we have an online store. So if you go to our website, there's a link there where you can buy all of your TA branded gear. There's all sorts of different things you can buy. The league doesn't make anything on any of those, but we just did it there so people, because I know there's a lot of kids and parents that want to show their support of the league. And this is a way to do that and show that Tabe's pride. We also have at the Hit-a-thon this year, as well as some of the other events, we will be bringing out a clothing rack. We have tons of shirts, and we are Tamale shirts, and we've got some brand new sweaters that we just got this year. They look really amazing. So we'll have those for sale at the field. Those we will make some money on if you buy things at the field. So we get tons of hats. So anybody that wants to buy hats, they'll be available at the fields for purchase this year. We're all over social media. Facebook is where we spend most of our promotional stuff. We also have Instagram, we have Twitter. We're on all the different social media platforms. Follow us to see what's going on and what's new. So we have a YouTube channel for all of our videos. I will be posting the recording of this meeting tonight to our YouTube channel, so that if you ever need to refer back to this, that's where it will be posted. For those coaches who weren't able to attend, that's where they'll be able to find it. And that's really the end of it. So we really want to thank everybody. We know how much effort it takes to coach, and we really want to say thank you. I know I'm kind of a pain in the butt about backgrounds and all that other stuff, and I do appreciate you all getting it done. I think we're finally got everybody covered, and we were able to order our charter and all the other stuff now. So thank you. I hope we have a great season. I'll stick around now if anybody has questions, but if you don't have questions, you're welcome to leave. If you have questions, I'll stick around until answer whatever you have. Thank you very much, everybody.
Keith, is the slide deck available?
It will be, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna send this out either tonight or tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
Hey Keith, this is Brandon Bruin. I know myself, Dennis and John were thinking about going down to Spalding Field and doing some work tomorrow. But you said it was going to be groomed professionally or something. Is that still going on, or what's up?
Yeah, so it actually probably gets done today. So what they did is we actually had someone out there. They went and they tore up removed all of the growth and grass inside the field and dropped a whole bunch of ton of clay on top of it. So it should have been done yesterday.
Okay, cool.
Yep. Any other questions I can answer?
Just gonna say thank you guys and send me and share with me all the photos of your kids. We love to see them and we love to spread and brag about them. All right, I'm gonna say goodnight. Take care, Keith. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Anybody else have any other questions? Nope. All right, well then, thanks everybody for attending, and I'll see you all at the field sometime soon.
Thanks, Keith.
Bye, everybody.